First, live, local. This is Fox 12 Now.
And hello, everyone. Welcome to Fox 12 Now. I'm Greg Nibbler. As always, appreciate you joining us here every weekday. Starting about 1 p.m., we are live streaming on our apps, on our website, and of course on social media. We're on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching live, drop in some comments and questions as we go through. These are one of my favorite segments we get to do, where we have Ezra Kaplan from Fox 12 Investigates joining us to talk about all the really interesting work that you do, all the things that you're investigating, like the stuff that we all wonder about. Ezra goes out and finds out the details on that.
Try to answer those questions.
Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's why, so if you are watching on Facebook and you have questions, I think we probably at this point all personally know someone affected by what we're going to be talking about today. And that's that alarming number of auto thefts, particularly, I guess, with Kia and Hyundai, right?
Kia and Hyundai are the number one culprits here. It's a issue specifically with Kias and Hyundais. If we want to get into kind of the origin of it, it turns out that there is this thing called an immobilizer that normally is installed on cars. For instance, in Europe, it's actually been required to install these on cars since, I think it's 1998, not required in the US. And so there's some accusations that this is done in a cost-cutting effort, but the immobilizers were not installed in these cars. And what that means is that you can start the car without actually having a key in the ignition. So that's what's going on. And this vulnerability got exploited on a TikTok challenge, right? There was this Kia Boys, or the Kia Challenge, where these folks would go and start the cars, steal the cars, start them, joyride them, and then post on social media. And it went pretty viral.
And it's taken off from there. I mean, that's crazy to think that that's something that's been around since 1998, this immobilizer.
So the immobilizer, the technology to stop this from happening since before 1998. I mean, it was required by European regulators to actually be installed, I think, in 1998. But yeah, it's not a new technology. It's a very basic technology. But, you know, a lot of these models are more economic models, and these car manufacturers have to make choices along the way. Yeah. What stays and what goes. Seems like a wrong choice might have been made.
And that's one of the things for decades that has not been put in there in the American versions, at least, for North America. So I know we've got some more the package that you want to play.
Yeah, so we've been digging into this, and it's not a brand new story. This has been around since late last year, but there are some new details, specifically around a class action lawsuit and the rate at which some of these cars are getting fixed. So we can go ahead and watch the story, and then we'll talk about it.
Yeah, all right, let's go ahead and do that.
It took just 2 minutes for thieves to break the window and start the car. No alarm, no one noticed until the next morning.
So I walked out and I was just like, oh my God, like I froze. I had no idea like how to process that at all.
They called the police, who actually found the car a mile away just 2 days later. But it was too late, and the thieves had trashed it.
Their exact words were it had extreme levels of methamphetamines in it, so it's being totaled.
Jolie Foreman was now one of the tens of thousands of Kia and Hyundai owners whose cars have been stolen. In fact, her Hyundai Elantra is one of the most commonly stolen vehicles in Portland, second only to the Kia Soul. It's all thanks to the TikTok challenge known as Kia Boys. The viral videos showed people how to bypass the ignition and start vulnerable cars with just a phone and a USB cord. After a judge ruled earlier this year that a settlement wasn't enough for victims, a class action lawsuit is finally headed toward resolution. Under the new settlement, owners who had their vehicles stolen can get reimbursed for 60% of the value of their car. Those with damage will only qualify for 1/3 the value of their car, or $3,375. But even if your vehicle is on the qualifying list, you aren't likely to see any actual payments until mid-next year at the earliest. We've reached out to Hyundai and Kia for an update on the fix, but haven't heard back. Meantime, Hyundai and Kia are partnering with Carfax to spread the word about what vulnerable owners can do.
Now, because of the online videos, they have created two types of fixes. One is there's a software update for the alarm system in the car so that it will run for longer and hopefully thwart any determined thief. or they have basically a steering wheel lock that will keep the car from being driven even if they manage to get it started.
The company has added the status of the fix to vehicle reports on their website so that used car buyers can know if the car they are shopping for is vulnerable to theft. Only about 400,000 cars have gotten the fix.
As of right now, there are about 4.5 million that still need the fix. And it's important to think about when you go to a relative's house or a friend's house for Thanksgiving or Christmas, check out their cars and see, if they have a Hyundai or Kia, you can check their vehicle history report and see if they need that work done.
But for Jolie, the retrofit hasn't been rolled out fast enough.
I cannot believe that this hasn't been fixed.
She says she never heard from the company about the problem until after her car was stolen.
I feel like they're not taking responsibility in this situation. They're not, establishing, hey, we messed up and we're gonna make efforts to fix this.
She says the whole experience has left her jaded as she shops for a replacement.
So I'm also kind of hesitant just in general to buy a new car because I'm gonna buy it and then a few years down the road, what am I gonna learn about it that's gonna make it easily stolen?
All right, so there we go. Yeah, great report there.
Thank you.
Getting some more in-depth information on that and talking to Carfax. So they're partnering with them.
Yeah, so they're partnering with them. Really quick, just brought a little prop in here. So we talk about in the story a little bit what is going on, what these auto manufacturers are doing. They have some high-tech solutions. There's a software update that is supposed to basically make it so that you need that key in the ignition to start it. It's also actually extending the length of the car alarm. So normally it goes 30 seconds. Now they're extending it to a minute. I think the hope there being that extra time
maybe that discourages them. Yeah, 30 seconds didn't do it.
Who knows? But the other thing that they're doing is going to a pretty old school solution, which is the good old club, for the steering wheel lock.
Yeah.
And this is something that's been around a long time. So the company is actually paying for these. They will reimburse the impacted customers to buy one of these. They've also given a bunch of them out to local law enforcement to try to get into the community. But this one is off of my car.
Yeah.
So I'm a big believer in this. I think deterrence is probably the most useful tool. And when a thief sees this on your steering wheel, they're just going to keep walking.
Yeah, it's too much of a pain. And I've actually got the same one for myself, too. I have my car broken into a couple of times. I'm like, I better get this before the next level happens. But that's just unfortunate that, again, going back to what you were talking about at the beginning, just that there's a solution that's been around for a long time.
There is. Absolutely.
Wasn't used. For whatever reason. And now we have all of these cars out there that are vulnerable to this.
Yeah, and that fact that there is a solution that wasn't being implemented is part of this class action lawsuit that we brought a bit of an update on. And so there's a little history behind that class action lawsuit. It's been going on for a little bit. They actually thought they had a settlement earlier this year, brought it to the judge. The judge said, this isn't enough. The problem was there were a couple problems, but one of the big ones is that it capped a dollar value on how much vehicle owners can be compensated for their losses. There is a new settlement that has raised those amounts and is preliminarily approved. But even with that settlement for this class action lawsuit, victims, the owners of the vehicles, they're not going to see a dime until next summer at the earliest. I mean, if everything goes according to plan. And this has been going on since last year.
And that's a lot of what ifs. And in the meantime, there's people out there that have had their cars stolen, have them, all kinds of stuff.
Absolutely.
And it's just
our main character, Jolie, she is in a rental car right now.
Yeah.
But that rental car is about to run out, right? So she only gets so many days paid for by the insurance company.
That's so frustrating.
Now she needs to buy a new car.
That understandably frustrating if you're in that position.
Of course.
I'm seeing we got one comment here. We are live on Facebook and YouTube, depending on when you're watching this. So this is one thing, though. When you are watching this, just know that Fox 12 Now goes live at 1 p.m. Pacific, and we can take instant feedback. I do see Cassie saying I was given multiple notices in the mail, and mine has been updated. So hers, okay. Right. So Cassie did get an update.
This is the thing that the company is actually sending out these notices. One of the tricky parts about this is in the secondhand market, right?
Yeah.
So our main character, she actually bought her car used, right? So she wasn't the first one. She says she's never received any sort of mail from the company, informing her she had no idea. You know, the expert we talked to at Carfax also explained one of the challenges of mail-based notifications is that there's so many scams out there, right? We're so used to these extended warranties and you know all this stuff that dilutes that messaging you know stream, and so people may just be throwing them out. And so it's great that you were able to get that fixed. I think there's still a wide gap of folks who have not yet had that opportunity.
Right, and that's absolutely. I mean, I probably get a couple of warranty phone calls a week just myself. Even going through the voicemail, they still do the same thing, you know. Yeah, so it's easy to just ignore that.
Yeah, and so you know that's a challenge, right, for these companies. How are they going to stay in touch with their customers, especially for a commodity or an item like a car? They may get passed on into somebody else, but if it was their mistake to start with,
it's kind of on them.
They kind of need to figure out how to fix it as well.
Yep.
So
put out a big billboard, something. I don't know.
That's right.
I don't know what that is. Not my problem to figure that out either. But yeah, they're definitely great to learn more about this and
absolutely.
Info. Any next steps or anything else for this? I mean, it's kind of where we're at right now.
Yeah, the big next thing is going to be following this lawsuit. What happens with that? Additionally, Kia and Hyundai are both doing these pop-up get your car fixed events in various cities around the country. None in the Northwest that I'm aware of yet, but they've done a handful of them. So perhaps they'll be coming here. They basically set up a big tent, and it's a drive-through software update. And,
wow.
But yeah, that's kind of where we stand. We'll just have to see, you know, at what rate these cars get fixed. So we'll stay on top of it.
Well, as always, I appreciate your reporting and information on this. And I want to remind people, too, if you have something that you think should be investigated, feel free to send in an email as well. And also we have a whole section on the website where people can fill out a form, right?
Absolutely. We're always open to tips. We want to know what's going on in your neck of the woods, and otherwise we'll never know that it's going on.
Right.
So.
That's you know, we're here. So please spread the word on that. And if you have something that you think or even should possibly be investigated or you think there should be a segment on it, send in that email or fill out that form and let us know. So we appreciate that. Well, this is Fox 12 Now, and we do have more coming up here today. So a couple of other things we're going to be talking about in about 15 minutes or so. We'll be talking to Meals on Wheels about their Donate a Dinner program that's coming up here for the holidays to help donate a meal to somebody. So a great organization there. And also at 2 p.m., we're going to be talking to the lead at the Oregon Veterinary, I have to get their actual name right. I was going to try to remember it. Anyway, we're talking to an Oregon vet about an issue that's going on with dogs here in Portland, and that is an illness that's happening, and they don't really know what's causing it. So we're going to discuss that and get some more details out into that. If you are a dog owner, I think you'll definitely want to follow along with that. So all that's coming up here on today's show and more. But if you're watching on social media, you'll see us close out right now. Head on over to the website and the apps. We'll continue on there. We'll be back on social media at 1:30. Ezra, thank you very much. Always appreciate you being here. We'll go ahead and say goodbye to social media back in a bit. I'll talk to the rest of you in just a couple minutes.